Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Cotton Grower Magazine's Cotton Companion podcast, and Happy New Year. This is Jim Stedman, editor of Cotton Grower, alongside my colleague and good friend Beck Barnes. And although 2023 is now behind us and the focus is shifting to the 2024 crop, it's certainly not a slow time for the cotton industry, as meeting season is now in full swing. Beck, Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you. Yeah, I'm still writing. I rarely write a check, but yeah, it's going to take me probably about 4 months to start doing 2024 instead of 2023 when I'm writing my checks out. But yes, Happy New Year to you, Jim. It's as you know, it's kind of cold and flu season here in the Memphis and Greater Memphis area, but I have been blessed thus far. I've stayed healthy. I'm jealous of you. As I have been homebound when it's been the coldest week of the year here as we record on the 10th of January. But I know that you have been out of the house. You've been traveling a little bit with getting to these meetings, getting to go to Beltwide.
Yeah, there's nothing like shaking off the fireworks and the confetti from New Year's and climbing on a plane the morning of January 2nd and flying to Fort Worth for the Beltwide Conference.
How was that airport experience, by the way? Holiday.
At this point, I didn't have to make connections through DFW,
that's key.
Which is really lightens the anxiety and the load on it. It's like if there are delays, so what? You're there.
Yeah. But if you got through unscathed, you're a lucky man.
Yeah, this
no
one
delays.
was, I think the only distress, and it was, a minor inconvenience, was on the flight back. We had a whole plane full of people sitting at, I think, gate C11, something like that. And, 10 minutes before the flight was to start boarding, they said, "Oh, we've had a gate change to C37."
Yeah.
It was just this massive humanity taking a good, getting some exercise, moving briskly, from one end of the terminal to the other.
But, yeah, probably mostly cotton folks, or a lot of cotton folks.
Yeah, there were an awful lot of cotton folks on the flight. So anyway, but like I said, it's good to get out, start the year off on the right note. Beltwide Conferences, as you know, and as many of our listeners know, it's always a really good meeting. This year's program was very solid. There were a lot of really good sessions. Had some good visits with longtime acquaintances, and also picked up plenty of news items to kick the year off. And we're going to share some of that information with you today, as well as focus on a few items of interest from Cotton Grower that were announced just after the first of the year. So for you listeners, I apologize in advance. This means you get just me and Beck today. No special guests. Yeah, I know. We're going to do our best to try to keep it interesting, get this year off to a good start.
Yeah. You teased it a little bit there, but I will tease it further. Yeah, we put out a great acreage projection that some of y'all might be very interested in, as well as a big achievement award that we'll get to later in this episode. So first, though, we would like to hear our sponsor partner, the American Cotton Shippers Association. They have a brief message that they'd like to share with us.
The American Cotton Shippers Association, also known as ACSA, is a trade association primarily made up of cotton merchants founded in 1924. ACSA members manage the majority of the world's cotton trade, providing services of merchandising, delivery logistics, and risk management to their customers. ACSA is proud to be celebrating its 100th anniversary this year. Join them in Scottsdale, Arizona in June 2024 for their centennial celebration event.
Okay, big thanks to our friends at ACSA for that message and for their support this year. Now, in our last episode prior to the holidays, we covered the announcement of Delta Pines class of 24 cotton varieties, as well as new variety information from Phytogen, from the good folks at Phytogen. So not surprisingly, additional new variety announcements from Americot and BASF were unveiled and announced during the Beltwide Cotton Conferences last week. So for the sake of equal time, fair play to all of our great seed companies, we want to share some of that info about these other varieties and technologies that are coming your way. So first up, from our good friends, the great folks at Americot. Now, Americott is expanding that next-gen line of BoldGuard 3 XtendFlex technology varieties. For 2024, they've got 5 new releases and 1 BoldGuard 3 Thrive On with XtendFlex variety. They're all providing high-quality, high-yielding options with an excellent fiber package. First up, it's going to be next-gen 3434 B3XF. This is an early maturing variety offering excellent yield potential and fiber quality with very long staple length. Its early maturity makes it a great fit for those northern plains. We're talking Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Next, we got next gen 3457 B3XF. This is also an early maturing variety showing high yield potential and an excellent fiber quality package. Easy to manage, shows good heat tolerance, and is bacterial blight resistant. This one performs very well across the North Delta region, particularly under high management conditions. After that, we've got next gen 4409 B3XF. This is an early to early mid maturing variety offering an excellent fiber package. Very long staple length is the word on this one. It's bacterial blight resistant variety, performs well on sandy soils, and is well suited for those Texas high plains, especially the region south of Lubbock. After that, we've got next gen 4414 B3XF. This is well suited for that mid-Atlantic region. It has high yield potential and an excellent fiber quality package. This mid-maturity variety has shown good heat tolerance and has an aggressive growth habit, responding well to PGR management. Boy, you get a real sense for that broad geographic footprint Americott has these days. I mean, these are, specific to acreage all across the belt. Okay, next we got next gen 5430 B3XF is a full season variety, well adapted for that southeastern region. This variety has top end yield potential and an excellent fiber quality package, and has shown impressive heat tolerance and is an aggressive plant type responding well to PGR management. And lastly, we got next gen 4405 B3TXF. That's the Thrive On XtendFlex. If I recall correctly. Yes, Thrive On with XtendFlex. Yeah, I had to double check. I literally just got done saying it 4 minutes ago, but I wanted to be sure. Okay, 4405 B3TXF is a medium maturing variety, including the Thrive On technology with an excellent fiber quality package, and bacterial blight resistance. This variety has performed extremely well across the Mid-South region and is widely adopted across a range of soil types and production environments. Very interesting. Okay, Jim, I turn it over to you.
Okay, well, BASF was certainly not going to be left out when it comes to new variety announcements. They are planning to roll out some new FiberMax and Stoneville varieties containing their new Accent Flex technology for 2024. That is, as you recall, is that first quad stack herbicide technology that's coming to the market that allows growers to use applications of glyphosate, glufosinate, and dicamba, as well as Elite 27, which is a new HPPD inhibitor. But that product is still awaiting final registration and will likely not be available for growers this season. But with BASF getting approvals for release of the varieties containing the technology, they're going to go ahead and move ahead with introduction of 4 new Accent Flex varieties for 2024, knowing that growers can still have the option of using glyphosate, glufosinate, and dicamba over the top of these products. Now we're getting we've all looked at sort of the alphabet and numerical soup that has followed variety names for the last several years, and BASF is bringing 2 more alphabetical designations to these varieties. These varieties are going to be identified by the letters AX for Accent Flex, for weed control only, and by AXTP, which would be Accent Flex with Twin Link Plus, that brings both weed and worm control. So jumping into the variety designations here, we're going to have FiberMax 765AX. That's one of the new FiberMax varieties to fit this high plain region of Texas. It's an early mid-maturing variety with resistance to bacterial blight, verticillium wilt tolerance, and resistance to root knot nematodes. It has shown very high gin turnout potential and excellent storm tolerance. Next will be FiberMax 868 AXTP, a new medium maturity FiberMax variety with the Accent Flex Twin Link trait package. It's really suitable for the Southwest and the Far West regions. Has a larger seed and offers excellent emergence and outstanding early season vigor, excellent storm tolerance, good root knot nematode tolerance, and of course that 3-gene lepidopteran resistance for any worm issues. Next will be FiberMax 823 AXTP. That's a new FiberMax variety targeted for cotton growers in the high plains and the rolling plains of Texas and Oklahoma, as well as far west regions of the Cotton Belt. It's a medium maturity variety with excellent storm tolerance, high gin turnout potential, plus resistance to bacterial blight, verticillium wilt tolerance, and resistance to root knot nematodes and lepidopteran pests. And finally, from BASF will be Stoneville 6000 AXTP. That's a new medium to full maturity Stoneville variety. It has a really strong fit all across the Cotton Belt, provides growers with resistance to bacterial blight, good root knot nematode resistance, 3-gene lepidopteran resistance, excellent fiber quality, and high gin turnout potential. Now, like any new product and technology launch, availability of cottonseed containing the Accent Flex technology for 2024 is certainly subject to many factors, and some seed may not be available for use in all cotton growing areas. So that's something to watch out for when the label for Elite 27 is released. And like we said, registration for that product is pending, probably likely coming after planting season this year. And that's pretty much the news from Beltwide, except for one other item that we want to touch on quickly. And that's congratulations. Congratulations to Camp Hand, who is University of Georgia Extension Cotton Specialist, who was named the 2024 Cotton Specialist of the Year during a special dinner during the Beltwide Conference. Camp does a great job over in Georgia. He's got a lot of projects and a lot of activities going, and certainly well deserving of this honor. So again, congratulations to Camp for that.
Also, Jim, he is forgive me for those of you listening. Yeah, I started speaking with my mic on mute, which is a common occurrence here at Maestro Media Worldwide, with me specifically. But no, Jim, Camp is a great friend of the Cotton Companion podcast. I mean, we've had that guy on before. He's been very helpful to us. And the guys who volunteer to be friendly with media in the way that he has and comes and share his wealth of knowledge with our audience, that's farmer-friendly stuff. That's guys who care about their farmers. So Camp is certainly that type of guy. He's a farmer-first guy. So we appreciate him, and that was a well-deserved honor that he received. Jim, now you were down there at Beltwide, and I know that we released one little bit of news while you were down there that probably made you a little more popular. Folks wanted to talk to you about our findings, and that was the release of the results of our annual cotton acreage survey, the Cotton Grower Acreage Survey, which we released on January 1, I believe. And I know that our number captured significant attention while you were down there. There were economists referencing it and name checking us in their presentations. So can you give us a recap? First off, we need you to tell our audience what our projected acreage number is and tell us how it was received at that conference.
Well, I'll be happy to. It almost feels like this is old news. We're the second week in January. It already feels like this is old news. But again, like you mentioned, we do this acreage survey based on, we basically survey our readers. We spend a lot of time on the phone and email and messages back and forth to the state extension specialists. We talk with economists. We talk with other folks related to the U.S. cotton industry. To say it's a truly scientific survey would be a real stretch. But looking at the numbers that we got, the information we got in hand, we have projected that U.S. cotton growers, and this is both upland and Pima acres, are going to plant 10.19 million acres of cotton in 2024. When you look at USDA's final reported planting acres for 2023, and that came out toward the end of October last year, comparing it to this projection, that's down roughly 42,000 acres, which in the big scheme of things is probably not very much.
It's flat.
Yeah, and if you really want to boil it down, to percentages, it's the best I could figure out with my East Tennessee ciphering abilities. That's a 0.5% down from the pre-harvest numbers from 2023. So in essence, you could say we're seeing no significant change in cotton acreage moving into this year.
Yeah, I would say, with that in mind, flat is kind of optimistic from not optimistic, but it is a more robust projection than maybe the things we were hearing at harvest time when I kept hearing, people say we're going to be down next year. We're going to be down next year. Flat would actually represent flat acreage would represent more than we heard some people say. Jim, I know that for full disclosure, I used to do this when I was on the editorial side. I used to be the guy who conducted the acreage survey, and now Stedman does a great job with it. But I know that people would always ask me about our methodology. So could you just because people want to know, well, how accurate is that number, and what's the context there? So tell the folks what time frame we were conducting our survey, and also can you tell us how many responses we got? Ballpark.
Yeah, first of all, you have to please keep in mind that this always comes in our January issue. Now, our January issue means we're in production. We're writing this article around the 1st of December. So our survey time frame for this really started about early November with some electronic surveys going out to our readers, at least the readers that we have email addresses for, and that's a significant number of folks. A lot of conversation again with state cotton specialists because you're into harvest in a lot of places, and in some states they were actually kind of finished by that point. Always listen to economists because they have some certain ratios particularly when it comes to the corn to cotton ratio that they've relied on for many, many years to help determine what they think cotton acres are going to be. And then just talk to some other folks, knowledgeable folks in the industry about it. So as I described it to somebody, it's not scientific. It is really and truly a reporting job with math involved. And we've been fortunate for the last couple of years to be right in the mix when the National Cotton Council releases their survey here in mid-February, and USDA will put a preliminary number out there, I think, at their Outlook conference again around that same time in early February. But their real number doesn't come out till the end of March with their prospective plantings report. So, to be honest with you, it's kind of tough right now because there's still an awful lot of questions to be answered. I think one of the people I talked with on it said, quite honestly, says I could see this acreage, I could see 9.8 million acres. I could also make a case for 10.8 million acres. So there's still a lot of unknowns out there, and I think the biggest factor on it, when it comes down to it, is Texas. Last year, for the last 2 years, as we know, been dealing with with droughty conditions, prolonged high temperatures, all sorts of things that have basically cost them 2 good crop years pretty much in a row. Now you're in a new El Nino weather pattern. Texas is getting moisture, as is most of the South, as is most of the country. Pick your type of precipitation right now as we speak, whether you're going to get rain, whether you're going to get snow, or whatever. But the big question is, we kind of calculated based on what we had that Texas may be around 5.6 million acres, which for them is down significantly. If we go into the growing season or the planting season here, and of course South Texas, that will start here probably in about a month, and then move on up into the high plains, up northern into the state. as we get through May and into June, if there's enough soil moisture there, to get a crop in the ground and get it up, and the forecast, if it follows a traditional El Nino pattern, will show that you're going to get some regular showers during the year. The big question is 5.6 going to be enough, or are people going to go ahead and bump up to, add another, 500,000 to 1,000,000 acres in there because they can? At that point, we just don't know. Obviously, production would, extra production would be good, and growers need that extra production. What that will do to the market situation with surpluses and carryovers, and certainly with prices, will be the questions that we have to answer as we get farther into the year.
Yeah, I'll never apologize for more acres. I mean, if you're Cotton Grower Magazine, more acres is great.
More acres is always good.
Yeah. I'll just say, before we wrap a bow on the conversation, and you're right, you're not wrong when you say it's not a scientifically sound survey. That's fair. But, what's also true is that, we've been right on top of the actual number here more times than not. We're very, very close. We're the first one that comes out. So our number, it's a little bit, we get a little bit nervous when we release that number because we don't know how it's going to be received in the industry, but it's always well received. It has more often than not been right on top of the actual number, and not for nothing, but, we get phone calls after this thing goes out from, somebody at Cargill will want to call and know about our number and what we saw,
right?
On a little more granular level, or Allenberg. And that ought to tell you everything you need to know. I mean, these guys whose careers or jobs depend on getting this stuff right are always very interested in this little cotton grower survey that comes out. So, it's not scientific, but it is extremely well informed, and it is almost always pretty darn accurate.
Yeah,
so,
and to be sure, those inquiries from outside companies started coming in around mid-December.
Yeah.
It's like, do you have your number yet? And we literally had just finished putting everything together, and I basically said, I'll let you know January 1st.
Yeah, but they're asking because they know that we get it right.
Well, at least we give them a starting point.
Yeah,
and right now, I think this year that's probably the most important thing on it.
Yeah.
It's like, the good news is we're going to plant cotton, and we shouldn't plant any less than what we did last year. Time will tell. It always does.
Okay. Well, the other bit of news, hard news that Cotton Grower Magazine made right here at the start of the new year that we always do is we were pleased to announce that Bart Davis of Davis Family Farms in Doran, Georgia, is the recipient of the 2023 Cotton Grower Cotton Achievement Award. Big, huge congratulations to Bart Davis. His background and his farming resume is just super impressive, as you would imagine. And his industry involvement with several associations, research, local and national issues. I mean, you name it, this guy has given of himself to the cotton industry. So a very worthy recipient. Jim, I know you went down there and talked with Bart.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us what you know about him.
Well, first of all, Bart's success story is not unlike a lot of farming success stories. I mean, he grew up there on the family farm. But if you go to our article, it's in obviously the cover story in the January issue, which should be hitting your mailboxes any moment now. But also go online to cottongrower.com for the whole story. Bart had to take over the family farm literally weeks after his 18th birthday, following the untimely passing of both his mother and his father within a 4-month period. That in and of itself is intimidating enough. But yet he'd had enough. His father had worked with him and trained him well enough that he was able to, to keep things going, and literally has built, this little family farm operation into a substantial business operation. He's a very interesting guy. He's he's involved in all aspects of the production. He's got a lot of family and other folks that are working with him on the farm. Everybody has their own responsibilities, but everybody does pitch in wherever they need to. He's been deeply involved in the Georgia Cotton Commission and the Georgia boll weevil eradication program. He's been part of working with Southern Cotton Growers Association. He's been involved with Cotton Incorporated. He's a state representative for the National Cotton Council. But I think the biggest thing is he's a guy who asks a lot of questions about, is there a way we can do things better? And a lot of the questions he's asked have found their way back, say, to the University of Georgia. And so on the farm, the university for the last couple of years has been conducting research studies on variable rate planting, for example. He's working with them on some research and some background right now on efficient uses of drones for certain activities. He's been very, very involved with the university, allowing them to bring and actually inviting them to bring representatives from EPA onto his farm when these folks were trying to evaluate and see what, down at ground level, what weed control programs and what weed control products were still essential. So he's tied into so many different aspects of the industry at this point. But when you sit down and talk to him, he will tell you the only thing I ever wanted to do is farm. That's the thing that makes him the happiest. And he's a great representative for the cotton industry and certainly a great example of a top-notch cotton producer as well. So we were more than happy to add Bart to the list of Cotton Achievement Award winners. We will be physically presenting that award March 1st at the Mid-South Farm and Gin Show in Memphis. So we look forward to that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just a super impressive guy, and I know that me personally, man, I'm looking forward to introducing myself to Bart and getting to honor him in front of his peers at the Gin Show, like you say, March 1 in downtown Memphis.
And with that, I think that's pretty much it for this episode of the Cotton Companion podcast. Thanks for putting up with just me and Beck today. I think we had some good information, and I hope that all proved to be good for you. We want to thanks to American Cotton Shippers Association for their participation and sponsorship with the Cotton Companion. And as always, thanks to you, dear listeners, for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like what you heard, please be sure to spread the word, tell your friends about the Cotton Companion podcast, and here's where and how they can find us.
You can find the Cotton Companion in 3 easy ways. First, go to cottongrower.com/companion, or simply click the podcast tab at the top of the homepage. Second, subscribe to our channel on iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts these days. And 3, sign up for our weekly e-newsletter, the Cotton Grower e-News, that's delivered to your email inbox every Tuesday morning. You can do that by going to cottongrower.com/subscribe. Also, be sure to follow Cotton Grower on social media. We are at Cotton Grower Mag on Twitter. And on Facebook, you'll find us by searching for Cotton Grower Magazine.
Cotton Companion podcast is produced twice monthly by Tyler Hatch and Kim Henderson, our talented colleagues at the world headquarters for Meister Media Worldwide in lovely Willoughby, Ohio. I'm Jim Stedman. He's Beck Barnes, and we'll be back with you in a few weeks for the next episode of the Cotton Companion.
Yeah, he works and he works and he works and he works all day. God made a farmer. Yeah,